Yes, this may be a day late, but the Green Brigade have spoken and they put out a tweet rehashing their message that they had for Brendan Rodgers 4 years ago by saying, "You traded immortality for mediocrity, never a sell, always a fraud." And the big, tough Green Brigade that you're led to believe that they think they are probably, right? They've turned off the replies. They've actually turned off the fucking replies. I mean, is that not a bit embarrassing? They've actually turned off the replies. What is this? Is this BBC News where they turn off replies so people can't, deliver the real truth? No, they've actually turned off the replies. But intriguingly enough, 5.5 million views here, only 1.3k likes, and 1.5 thousand retweets. So what you could say for that is that the majority of Celtic fans do not back what the Green Brigade are saying. But to be honest, are the Green Brigade even backing what they're saying? Because there is a major problem with this message, and we're going to get stuck straight into it. We have another banner from the Green Brigade, and this is during Brendan Rodgers' time. It says, 10 in a row is not a project. Back Rodgers or lose him. So you can clearly see here that the Green Brigade are clearly in Brendan Rodgers' camp. They're like, we want 10 in a row. We want you to stay, Brendan. But if you leave because the board didn't back you, then we kind of understand your point of view. We understand why you would want to leave. Right? Now, to be fair to the Green Brigade, Rodgers the illusion is that he left because they didn't back him and he couldn't do well in Europe. Now, is there a guarantee that Brendan Rodgers, right, would have won 10 in a row if he stayed? Rodgers is a better manager than Lennon, but we have to just call a spade a spade. Rangers were fantastic in that season when they won 55, and Celtic were absolutely awful. Now, would they have been better under Rodgers? I'm not denying that. Would they have won the league? I genuinely don't think they would. I think it was almost written in the stars, that whole fucking COVID season, for Celtic to collapse and go on holiday trips. Maybe Rodgers wouldn't have took them on a holiday trip. Maybe they took them to a caravan site in Malila or something, but it is what it is. And we're moving on though, because you might be thinking here, aye, but this is just one banner, guys, come on. That doesn't mean the Green Brigade were in the Brendan Rodgers camp, but there's another banner which says, back the manager or back to mediocrity. So, Brendan Rodgers did not get backed, which is why he left, and therefore Celtic, in their fans' own opinion, is why we're back to mediocrity, in the likes of Neil Lennon straight after Rodgers. But when Neil Lennon took over, you've got to bear in mind, they came out with the said banner that said, you chose mediocrity over immortality. But it's hypocritical and it's no right, because you've just said that if they do not back Brendan Rodgers, they will return to mediocrity. They'll go back to it, right? They didn't back him, so therefore they've went back to mediocrity. But therefore, Brendan Rodgers has left, and then you've said, oh, but Celtic's immortality. Leicester City is mediocrity. So what is it, Green Brigade? It's either Brendan Rodgers went to mediocrity in Leicester, and he should have stayed at the Immortals. The immortal Hulk Hogan. The immortal Celtic FC man. Or Brendan Rodgers did the right thing. He left, and Celtic therefore became mediocrity. So if you look at the Green Brigade, man, they're flip-flopping here. How can they be saying before Rodgers left that the board need to back him, and if they don't, they're going to fall to mediocrity? Then Rodgers leaves because the board didn't back him, and then they're saying, here, Brendan, you left immortality to go to mediocrity, even though they literally just said that you would be leaving mediocrity, because if you leave, then we would become that. Can no one with a functioning brain actually register what's going on here? The Green Brigade are a bunch of tools, and that's all I'm going to say, man, because there's nothing to it other than that. They're completely contradicting themselves here and just being completely hypocritical. Anyway, guys, that is it for Fog Football. I thought I had to make this vid because the Green Brigade needed to be told what was happening, man.